Good afternoon, everyone. My extensive regards to everyone here. Actually, it's an honor to be here, even though it's kind of prompt. It's just now I've been told that I have to just say something about the book. But nonetheless, this is a book that I wrote, and I should not struggle talking about it. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge my sister, Safia, and everyone down there, as well as a colleague and a brother, Mahmoud Jallo, for coming here to share some words of wisdom. It's good to see you all around. Now, if you look at Safia, absolutely, I've been following all along. Perhaps I might be maybe a secret follower, but really, I am very impressed that someone at your level with that steadfastness, dedication, consistency, to get to the level where you are. You are really, right now, the torchbearer to many Gambian female writers. So can we give her a round of applause? I'm very much appreciative. Yes. Apart from that, equally, Mahmoud is a brother. I think we met in 2019 when I was a teacher trainee at Nasir, Ahmadiyya Upper Basic and Senior Secondary School. So many things happened. So I don't need to narrate the story here, but I'm proud that he is the SG of this important union, that is University of the Gambia Student Union. And I want to say congratulations. And don't feel bad about being an accountant. And I want you to know, Lenry Peters, whom we consider the trailblazer in Gambian literature, was a surgeon. Okay, he was never an English expert or English major or so. And one of his poems was among the specified texts that was used for Waeke, Kachikali, and others. So precisely, it's not about what you specialize. What matters is the passion. Are you ready for it? Do you want to explore in that area? So that's the most important thing. And I'm very proud of you two, making headways. Last time I saw you in Dubai. If I were here, I would have absconded anyways. All right. Anyways, on a more serious note. Well, my name, as alluded, is Muhammed Sidibeh. I am second-year student, second semester, School of Education. Actually, I had been writing. From 2016, I started effective writing. Poetry is something that I loved. It's something that, I become emotional, especially whenever I hear poetic lines. I remember I was inspired by the English bard, William Shakespeare, whom we consider the father of modern literature. If you read his sonnet 18, line 7, entitled, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" He says, "And every fair from fair sometimes decline." Now, if you look at that line, he was talking about beauty. That beauty is a temporal attribute. It's not something that is permanent. Okay? So when I read that line, and I read the commentary, I was really touched. That honestly, serves as a turning point in my writing career. Okay? We talk about John Milton, the allusions that they use. Sometimes when I read poems, I become emotional. I feel like crying. So that's why I started writing. They know the story very well. So I've been writing from 2016, writing a lot of poems. But now to put it in a book, because whenever I write, I do listen to observations, people critiquing, others criticizing. Sometimes others will call me and insult my mother. Yes! I remember I wrote something, it was very, because sometimes I like hitting people directly. I will not mention names, but because writing, we have to prick the ills of the society. Some people will call you, and they'll even threaten you. Yeah, but those things are part of the journey. Okay, others will say a lot of things, they'll threaten you, they'll criticize your work. Sometimes you feel like you haven't done anything. But consistent will take you to places. So I realized that most Gambians have been writing poems. And if you look at poetry, it is written in a language that is condensed. Like the language is written in an elevated form. Now, for that language, we need somebody to dissect that language, because not everybody would understand poetic language. The language is very deep, very complex. That's why some people, whenever you said poetry, they'll look, please, okay. They don't want to bother, because it requires a lot of reasoning. Yes. And that informs my challenge. That's why I've completed my book since 2021. But to analyze the poem now was a serious task. I said, let me challenge myself and try this. You know, I've seen brothers and sisters writing anthologies, but why not let me try my best to analyze some of these poems? Perhaps it will trigger some of their passions in this literary genre. So I tried to analyze them. I did my best. Although I do teach literature as well, so the little knowledge that I gain, I analyze them. Now, if you look at this book, Dandruff, you can see it's an uncountable noun. We call it mass noun. Initially, I wrote dandruffs. Yeah, it's an uncountable noun. That's why we are not seeing any S or an indefinite article before. But the dandruff here, we know it's a white flake, okay? It's an imagery that I like. The word dandruff is an imagery. Imagery in a sense that I use dandruff from scientific point of view. They'll tell you it is treatable. It's kind of sickness when it is handled at its early stage. But it becomes problematic when the sickness is mature. Okay? Now, in this book, I explore the societal ills and thrills, the ills of the society. If you look at this current generation, our problem, especially in this country, is about our attitudes. Morality. Morality is the problem. Most of us, we behave well when we are with people, but we mess up when we are alone. Yes. This is across from the point of the government, the institutions, and so many. It's all about morality. This corruption that we're talking about is morality. If you are doing something, you know this is wrong, and you know you believe any of the deity or somebody higher is watching you, you should, denounce that one. You take some steps backward. But some of us, we behave well when we are with people, and we misbehave when we are alone. Sorry to say, but the University of the Gambia, we have issues with regard to the environment. Okay, we say the environment should be well taken care of. People are littering everywhere. You know why they are doing that? Yeah, some of us, when we are alone, we can do anything. When people are watching us, we try to behave well. So in this book, I explore. It's not only Africa. It's not only about the Gambia. It's not only about the world. So it is across. From global point of view, there are some poems that talk about global issues. There are others that talk about Gambian issues. In fact, there are some Gambians whose works have been acknowledged. All right? And that doesn't mean if your name is not there, you're not hardworking. That's why in the analysis I said, any Gambian who has been doing well of whatever field or profession that he or she is, I am acknowledging you, even though your name is not captured here. So the book is all about acknowledging some Gambians whose works absolutely requires praise and appraisal, and equally to denounce societal ills. And if you look at the book again, sometimes there are some lines I become sarcastic, meaning I was very harsh in some lines. And I did that deliberately because in literature we have what we call invective. Sometimes, if you look at Walt Soyinka, most of his works, he projects a lot of invectives, like the trials of Brother Jiru. So sometimes we have to call things the way they are. Not all the time you have to euphemize, use nice language. Sometimes just call things the way they are. Yeah, so precisely the book, the content is very good because so many seasoned writers, went through. When I wrote this, it passed through a lot of hands. Among them, we have this guy, American seasoned writer. It's a female American seasoned writer who authored 25 books, Miranda Paul. She also helped me a lot in terms of, going through editing and others. So as so many Gambians, even Fakeba Kujabi here, the English lecturer, also gave his blessings to the book. So I know what is there, and I would implore you if you can have it. Honestly, it will help you in so many things, especially if you want to know how to analyze a literary work. It will help you in your reasoning, and you will see there is a line that will resonate or that will resonate with you. Because in these lines, there's at least a line that maybe that directly talks about something about your ills. Everybody, at least there's something for you. Let me put it that way. So for you to know, just read, because I don't want to be talking a lot about the book, but I know what is in the book, honestly. And I know it is rare to see someone at my level trying to analyze a poetry book, but it will really help you to improve in your literary stuff. So precisely, to sum it up, because I don't want to stand here longer talking about the book, what I believe is just read the book. There is something for you. And in this book, when you read this, in fact, it will encourage you how to write, whether poetry or as well as analysis. Yeah, so it's an important book I will employ everyone to read. And equally, those that are on the verge of writing, it's not easy, to be honest with you. In this country, you have to do almost everything by yourself. Almost everything by yourself. I wrote letters to different institutions. Promise, promise. But to no avail. Huh? Others will say, come, so and so. You go there, they'll give you another flimsy excuse. So if you want to entirely depend on them, you will not get your wanted or your lofty dream that you have always aspire for. So if you want to do something, try to be ready to spend money. Even though you might not get what you spend, my intention here is to change most of these societal ills. The moment you read, at least you change or you stop that societal ill that you have, or that kind of personal issues that you have. For me, that alone means something. I just want to see people reading, changing their attitudes for the better. I touch myself, my own attitude, my own weaknesses are captured here. From marital issues, so many things I talk about. Okay, the first point that you see is about education. So that's why I said, just read the book. Okay, I'm not here to detail everything. Just read the book, you'll see. And I welcome criticism, please. If you buy the book, I have an email that I always invite criticism. If you read anything, whether from grammatical point of view, from whatever point of view, please don't hesitate. You can write it to my email. You can criticize as much as you want. I don't have any problem. I'll go through them. But I do know that the book, has gone through a lot of hands. People who are more of seasoned writers, they publish a lot of books. And I know, but we're human beings, whatever. Everything is possible. But I don't have any problem. You can send your criticism, your commentary, your appraisal via my email, msfl8sidibeh@gmail.com. Okay? And whatever you have, it's okay. Yeah, so the book, we are selling it for 400. I know some will say the price is huge or so. But to be honest, I know what is in it. So I don't need to talk a lot about the book. Just I know what is in it. Yeah, so if you're interested, even not now or so, you can link any of them. Abdul Koma was a guy that, we cross path. All right? I don't even want to call him my student, okay? Because I don't want people to say, okay, the moment he said he's my teacher, they are kind of pressurizing me to speak. Well, here, it's not easy. But nonetheless, it is what it is. And I want to thank you all for coming. And thank you for the love of literature. Poetry is very important. They've said everything here. I don't want to repeat. From the Quranic point of view, from the biblical point of view, they are all written in poetic language. You look at the Quran, it is written in poetic language. Almighty uses verses that even the Arabs, they could not understand. Yes. Verses like Alif, Lam, Mim, and all those things. The Arabs still now, they don't even know the meaning. You understand? So that tells you how powerful poetry is. God uses their language, their own mother tongue. They still now do not understand what those things mean. So poetry is huge. Sister Safia also quoted where God talks about the mighty of the pen. So these things are very important. So all in all, I want to thank you all for coming. And it's an honor at least to say one or two things about the book. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you. Yes.